Hello, do you feel like hypnosis doesn't work for you? Have you maybe been to see a hypnotherapist or done audio tracks of hypnosis and they just don't seem to do anything and you don't feel like you're in a trance and you think, well, nothing's happening? Well, in this video, I'm going to explain why that is, and I'll be using for proof a book from one of the world's best hypnotists ever. So, first of all, let's go over one of the most basic things that people get wrong. And just in case you don't know who I am, I've been working as an online hypnotherapist for the last few years. So I've helped hundreds of people use hypnosis. Notice the way I worded that. There's something to talk about there later. Anyway, first of all, here's the big mistake people make. If you were aware that you were in hypnosis, you wouldn't be in hypnosis. So you see, people are looking to be aware of something that they're not aware of. Well, how can you be aware of something that you're not aware of? You see, when I'm talking to you now, I'm talking consciously. This is all conscious talk. Hypnosis doesn't happen consciously. Hypnosis happens in your unconscious or subconscious. So think about what you're saying. You want to be consciously aware of your unconscious. Well, if you were aware of your unconscious, you wouldn't be in your unconscious because you'd be in your conscious, being consciously aware of your unconscious. Right, if you don't understand this quite simply, think of it like sleep. Now, hypnosis is not sleep. Let's just pretend it is for the sake of this example. It's a bit like me saying to you, I want you to tell me when you're sleeping. Well, how can you? Because you're sleeping. Now, you do sleep, right? You go to sleep and you wake up. But can you tell me when you're sleeping? Of course you can't, because you're sleeping. So, what I'm saying is you're trying to do something that's impossible. You want to be aware of the fact you're unaware. You can't do it. You will not know when you're in hypnosis. And I've worked with a lot of people who have done this, right? I've hypnotised people, and let me get this out of the way now. You don't hypnotise people, you only ever hypnotise yourself. That's what I mentioned now about. I'm going to say something about that later. You don't hypnotise anyone. I don't have any kind of powers to zap people with. I don't know how to get into people's minds and how to trick them into doing things. That's nonsense. All I do is I help guide you into your own state of hypnosis. So I can't make you be hypnotised. People say, it didn't work. They didn't do it on me. They haven't got any powers. They haven't got any powers. You are the one with the power. You are the only person who can put you into hypnosis. So you see, people are looking to be aware of something they can't be aware of when someone else does something to them they've got to do to themselves. No wonder. And before this gets too confusing, let me just bring in this book. This book is written by Derren Brown. Now, he's not exactly a hypnotist, and he says this himself in his book. But we're just going to say he's a hypnotist just to keep this simple, so it doesn't get too confusing. Derren Brown has done some of the most amazing things with hypnosis you'll ever see. And you can find these online. I'll put links in the description if I can find them. A few examples. He's hypnotised a man in, I think it was London, put him on a plane, flown him to Marrakesh and woke him up. And that man had no idea where he was. It was a funny prank he did. He's hypnotised someone who had a fear of flying, and he didn't just get them to fly, he got them to fly a passenger jet full of passengers and cabin crew. He's also hypnotised a man to believe that he'd woken up in a zombie apocalypse, and there were people who were actors dressed as zombies, and they were coming at this man, these actors and actresses coming at this man, and he genuinely thought he was in a zombie apocalypse. Now, you might think, well, that's really good proof that hypnosis is real, right? Derren Brown admits that he doesn't even believe in hypnosis. Isn't that strange? Let me read you some excerpts from his book. This is from Derren Brown, Tricks of the Mind, and I've done another video on this book, amongst others I recommend. And he says at the bottom of page 162 as a footnote, he's been talking about trance on this page. He says, I'll continue to use the word trance as if it were a real thing. The word is, however, just a shorthand term for whatever that half-acted out state of compliance is that the subject enters when he follows the hypnotist's suggestions. That's one of the world's greatest, telling you that there's no such thing as a trance. You don't go into a trance and become a zombie. And that's from someone who hypnotised someone to believe there was a zombie apocalypse, not hypocalypse. He also says on page 165 in the section called Deepen the Trance, remember, there is no real trance to deepen. There you go. He's telling you there's no such thing as this hypnosis people are looking for, this trance where people are slumped over. Yes, that can happen, but it's only because people expect that and they're just acting out some kind of, it's almost like they're pretending. It's not fake pretending, they're not being paid, they're not acting as in, oh, I've been paid, I'm going to pretend I'm in a trance. They genuinely think they are, but it's just role play. It's like when I work with people who have a fear of driving. There's no such thing as a fear of driving. It's fake. You haven't even got the problem. People say, oh, you don't understand. When I drive, I get sweaty palms and my heart's racing, I have panic attacks and I can't breathe and I feel trapped and there's nowhere to pull over and I need to phone someone to come and pick me up. You're just pretending. Oh, you don't understand. I do understand. You're just faking it. You're just living out a role-playing a scenario. It's in your head. You're believing, I can't drive. There is danger. I'm going to die. And your body then produces the physical reactions to compensate for that. You get filled with adrenaline. Your hands start shaking and sweating. Then you think, oh, look, I've got driving anxiety. It's just thoughts in your head. It's nothing more than thoughts. My job isn't really to fix people's problem. It's to make them realise they haven't got a problem. Nobody who comes to me really has a problem. They just think they've got a problem. And yes, it may seem very real. It may seem like you've got driving anxiety because you're sweating and shaking. And I do get it. People say, I've had it 30 years and I sweat and I shake and I panic and I think about my journeys for days and I can't do it. And when I'm going uphill and downhill, I'm scared. It's all fake, right? The whole thing is fake. You're just imagining it. And you're only sweating and shaking because your imagination is so strong, you genuinely believe you've got a problem when you haven't. Because other people are driving past thinking, what's that car doing? Why are they swerving all over the road? Why are they braking? There is no danger. You haven't caught an anxiety virus. It doesn't go into you and suddenly it gets in your blood and you've got anxiety. There's no such thing as anxiety. It's fake. It's just thoughts. The only difference between people who have got anxiety and haven't is what you believe. It's thoughts. That's all it is. So, without going too much off topic, the whole point of this is, let me try and summarise all this. You won't know when you're in hypnosis because there's no such thing as hypnosis. All there is when you go into a different place in your mind. What is it? No one knows. Like Derren says, this half-acted out state of hypnosis. Let me grab my phone. And I've got another quote here from one of the all-time greats. So this is from Dave Elman. This is one of the all-time brilliant hypnotists who's taught hundreds of doctors, dentists who use hypnosis for dental procedures. Again, when you have, there's footage online of people having their teeth removed with no anaesthetic, and they're doing it with hypnosis. It's fake. Now it's real, it works, and dentists are saying this is incredible. How can these people be feeling no pain? Because they're just believing they're not feeling pain. It's all in your head. And one of the all-time greats, Dave Elman, said, if you will put aside all preconceived notions and examine hypnosis clinically, you will find that it doesn't look or behave as you thought it would. So I'm in a mess now, because is hypnosis real or not? Is it fake? It's not fake, it does work, but it's fake, it doesn't exist, but it is real. But can you see what the problem is? Let me summarise it if you haven't worked it out yet. No one in the world knows what hypnosis really is. It is real, it does exist, it does help people overcome the problems, and if you've got a problem and you're saying I don't believe in hypnosis, well, you're using hypnosis. You realise that, don't you? If you've got a fear of driving, you're hypnotising yourself every time you drive, and you're having this weird panic attack, and your passengers are looking at you thinking, what's wrong with them? You're in hypnosis. You've hypnotised yourself into having the problem, but that's the thing you don't believe in that's going to fix it. Isn't that funny? People come to me saying I don't believe in hypnosis. I say, well, you've already done it. That's why you're coming to me with a problem. I don't hypnotise people to fix their problems. I actually take people out of hypnosis to fix the problems. So my job isn't to hypnotise you. You've already done that. My job is to take you out of your hypnosis and to stop you hypnotising yourself. And then you don't give yourself the problem. Now, isn't this getting quite confusing? I did say I was going to summarise it. Let me start that again. No one knows what hypnosis is. Is it pretending in a way? You're acting, but you're not acting in a bad way. If I close my eyes, I'm now going to hypnotise myself, and I've done this many times before, and I'm going to tell myself I can't open my eyes. If you want to do this, play along. Close your eyes and just tell yourself that your eyes are heavy, they're shut, they've been welded shut, they've got glue on them, the shutters are locked down, they're heavy, your eyelids, and you cannot open them. And if you focus on that thought enough, I can't open my eyes. You see? Now, I'm not faking this. I know I can open them. If I go, I can open them, I can open them. But if I tell myself I can't, and I'm not pretending, I'm not just sitting here doing this. You see what happens when I do that? When I do fake it, my eyes open. If I hypnotise myself and say, I can't open my eyes, and it's the weirdest feeling. I remember when I first did this years ago, you can't open them. And now I think I can. And I open them. Because I was believing I couldn't open them. I've got driving anxiety. Oh, I'm scared. You're just believing you've got anxiety. You haven't really got anything. It's just a belief. So let me summarise again. It's about the third time I've gotten to summarise. Right, where was I? Hypnosis isn't what you think it is. As proven by Derren, by Dave Elman, by all the greats. People say it isn't like people think it is. Why do some people go into this floppy trance where they're like this? Some people just do, different personalities. Most people who experience hypnosis won't even know they're doing it. When I did that thing, I'll do it again, with my eyes closed, can't open them. Do I look like I'm in hypnosis? Am I going like this? I am in hypnosis. I am under your control and I cannot open my eyes. No, I'm just sitting here talking like I normally do. I can move, I can stand. You don't have to lie down or sit down to do hypnosis. I can't open my eyes. No, I can. Because I gave myself the suggestion. The click's nothing to do with it. The click is just for theatrics. I told myself I can't open them. Then I told myself I could. It's not what you think it is. So if you're expecting to be controlled by someone, have this magic power where you're floating and everything's gone weird, no, it's not what it is. You do hypnosis every day when you breathe, blink, walk, talk, drive, unless you've got driving anxiety. You do them all unconsciously. If you were to get your phone out, unlock your phone, scroll through your phone, go to your favourite app, you're not thinking about it. It happens unconsciously. That's hypnosis. We all do hypnosis many times every day. It's not this weird thing. When you focus on it, because I believe hypnosis, it's just focus. When you focus on that weirdness, the unconsciousness, the stuff you're not aware of, you go deeper into it, and then your unconscious becomes greater than your conscious, and weird stuff can happen. But then you try and be aware of it. The fact you're aware of it brings you out of it. You're saying, hey, I'm not hypnotised. Bring back your unconscious. Your conscious is down here. I'm not hypnotised. You are, but every time you say that, you're bringing yourself out of it. And you won't know when you're in it, because it's weird. Time passes like the man who was on the plane to Marrakesh. He had no idea. Can you imagine someone putting you into like a trance and you wake up in a different country and he had no idea where he was, no idea how he got there? Time stops when you're in hypnosis. And I've had this in sessions. So this video is going to be quite long, but I'm being as detailed as I can. I've worked with people who have come to me with a fear of driving. And this is one of the most annoying things that ever happens. I had someone recently, you won't know when that is because I film these videos months in advance. Right, this person came to me, we started doing what I do, and they obviously went into a trance. It was obvious. The eyelids were fluttering like this, the face was going red. These are all signs people are in hypnosis. They were slightly slumped, they don't have to be, but they were like this. And they were like, there was obviously in hypnosis, if you said to someone on the street, what do you think's happening to this person? I think, well, they're either drunk or they're on drugs or they're in hypnosis or something like that. They were like this for about half an hour. And then they had tears coming out of their eyes. And then they came back and they were like, oh, I don't think it worked. I don't think the hypnosis worked. Nothing happened. It's hilarious when you see people. I've had people like this. Their arm goes up in the air and their head's going around like this. And I had personal ones, one eye open, one eye closed like this. Their arm in the air, tears coming out of their eye that was open. And then at the end of the session, oh, it didn't work. I wasn't in hypnosis. It didn't work. We'll have to do another session. And then people go out driving. They drive absolutely brilliantly. They've been unable to drive over 50 miles an hour for years. And they come back and say, oh, Paul, it didn't work. What do you mean it didn't work? Well, I've been driving at 70 for the last hour or two. I can't do it. But you just said you'd done it. Oh yeah, I've done it. I went on the fast roads. I was doing 70 for about an hour or two. But that's my problem. I can't go over 50. It is hilarious when people come back to you having told you the problem's gone, but they don't know it's gone. It makes you want to bang your head against the wall. I remember when I became a therapist and they said it's one of the most hilarious and annoying things at the same time. People come back all the time, it didn't work. All right, somebody I knew once did stop smoking and a client come back, it didn't work. All right, so how many of you smoked in the last month? None, but it didn't work, I'm still smoking. How many? None, but I'm still smoking. People just cannot, right, you can't tell when you've used hypnosis. You won't know you're in it. You will often go out and be driving and not smoking and whatever, and you won't know because you just can't tell. You're so used to having the problem. Even when you're driving along the road at 70 miles an hour without a care in the world, you'll be convinced you've still got driving anxiety, even though you haven't, because you're just thinking, this is how I am. So let me stop going on any longer. But the point is, in this video, hypnosis this is about the fourth, fifth time I've summarised. Hypnosis is not what you think it is. Stop expecting some zombie-like state. Stop expecting some magic power. Stop expecting to be aware that it's happening. And guess what happens when you do that? It'll happen. Check out these other videos of mine on the screen for more help. And if you want to work with me one-to-one online from anywhere in the world, you can contact me through my website, firstdrive.com. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you again soon for more videos.